All right, welcome back to the Chaos Report. My name is Dave. Thank you for tuning in. Going to be talking about all the crazy, weird, and wacky stuff that has to do with Donald Trump. I am not on the Trump train, currently on the DeSantis train, and I'm already saying if it ends up being Trump against Biden, I will vote for the unity ticket. Putting it out there today, I will vote for the unity ticket because I believe our politics are broken and we don't get anything done. And the crazy extremes, and yes, there are crazy extremes on both sides. I tend to be right of center. I tend to be libertarian on some things. I tend to be a little progressive on a couple of things. So I'm thinking, can we just try to get things done for the country? The answer, of course, is no. So another indictment is coming. Privately, and this is probably a consultant who is worried, somebody who's working for DeSantis or Nikki Haley or Tim Scott. The fear is that a third indictment, even if it's the most serious one yet, will once again help Donald Trump. J6 just gins up the base, according to a rival strategist. Critics of the former president were left to wonder what it would take for the field to actually turn on him after the J6 target letter informing Trump he was about to be indicted for his behavior around that day. Okay, it didn't work because everybody was still kind of standing down. You would think Nikki Haley would come forward. Now, Chris Christie has been hitting them over the head, everybody, with this, but nobody's really listening to Chris Christie because he's just not getting any traction. Would Chris Christie be a better president than Donald Trump? I don't know. How's that for an answer? I don't know. Chris Christie, he's part of the cabal. He worked for Trump. See, this is the crazy stuff that the Trumpers will throw at you. Nikki Haley worked for Trump. So you surround yourself with neocons and these people who you think are despicable rhino-type characters, and you claim to be that you're not one of those, but yet you surround yourself, and people are always explaining this to me like they have some kind of divine revelation, like you keep your enemies close or you keep them closer. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't understand this. You're hiring people that don't match what your organization is all about. That's what you're doing. And I think it's ridiculous. And people make excuses. So, the Lincoln Project, I'm not a fan of the Lincoln Project, obviously, but they're talking about kabuki dance, and it ain't going to be the first time, it ain't going to be the last time, said Mike Madrid, the Republican strategist and co-founder of the anti-Trump Lincoln Project. I'm not a Lincoln Project guy, okay? There's some weird stuff, very neoliberal progressive organization, so I don't know how they're part of the Republican Party. The kabuki dance is trying to have it both ways while they try to wait for the dust to settle on his legal problems. Now, they're referring to the candidates running. That because there hasn't been a definitive verdict on any of this yet, the candidates kind of have to keep their powder dry, except if you're Chris Christie and maybe to some degree Mike Pence, because, again, Mike Pence isn't going anywhere. I would say Christie would go someplace before Pence, because Pence just looks awful on the campaign trail, just not resonating with anyone. I don't even know. Why is he running for president? Why? Nearly a month before the first debate, the actions of special counsel Jack Smith has candidates hurtling toward a Rubicon they have not fully found a way to navigate to assail Trump's character as exhibited in the lead up to and on J6 or not. They talk about Mike Pence dealt with the matter in Ohio, said that Trump demanded that he choose between him and our Constitution. Yeah, Mike Pence never saw an unconstitutional war he didn't like. So, just hypocrisy. But yeah, you can't overturn. Pence could not have sent that back to the states, or it's just BS. They concocted this to make everybody think, yeah, vice presidents can do this stuff. And, it just, they come up with like, hey, we're just gonna, what's the other one? The when someone is born here, right? They want to just send them back if they're supposedly an anchor baby kid. They're just gonna violate the 14th Amendment or whatever it is. Just bye-bye. No, we're just overturning that because we're authoritarians. If it's a bad law, get Congress in on it, right? So here's another interesting development. Rudy Giuliani admits to making false statements about 2 former Georgia election workers. Wow, this is a bombshell. For all the like Mike Lindell fans out there, and they tried so hard in Georgia. And then all of their efforts, what did it do? They ended up losing 2 more seats in the Senate because they refused to just back away. They were basically saying that they don't trust, and they had a whole bunch of people who didn't trust the election in Georgia. So a lot of those people probably stayed home, said it's not going to matter if I vote. And guess what? It mattered that they didn't vote because you got 2 absolute, I don't know what you want to call them, just very progressive people who really don't have the best interests of the United States at heart. Anyway, Rudy Giuliani, the former New York City mayor who served as an outside lawyer to former President Donald Trump, acknowledged Wednesday that he made false statements when he claimed 2 Georgia election workers engaged in voter fraud during the 2020 election. Giuliani, who's been sued by the now former election workers, he's been sued for defamation, still argued he was in. So he's just trying to hold on to his life here. He's arguing that he was engaging in constitutionally protected speech when he made the allegations, and they're suing him for defamation. I'm sure these ladies got death threats up the wazoo. And I'm not saying, you look at the footage that they presented, the footage looks real shady. But who's to say that they weren't given this job to do? Like, these ballots need to be fed into the machines. They're underneath the table, so everybody's like, ooh, there's ballots under the table. What are they doing? They stop the counting, and then they put the ballots in. I don't know. It looked really shady, but none of this stuff is panned out. People have seen the video footage, and they've come to their own conclusions on it. Giuliani's concession came in a 2-page stipulation he submitted to the federal district court in Washington as part of the lawsuit brought by Ruby Freeman and Wandrea Shea Moss, who are mother and daughter. In the filing, the former mayor admitted that for the purposes of the litigation, to the extent the statements were statements of fact and otherwise actionable, such actionable factual statements were false. So he admitted he does not dispute for purposes of this litigation that the statements carry meaning that is defamatory per se, and no longer contests the factual elements of liability raised by Freeman and Moss, but he noted that the declaration has no effect on his argument that he made constitutionally protected statements or opinions, or that his conduct caused the pair any damage. So he's basically arguing that he doesn't get indicted himself. This is what I'm reading here. So Giuliani really steps in it here. I mean, there's fraud, we can prove it, here it is. These 2 workers, even if these 2 did stuff, it wasn't going to be enough. There just not enough votes here. So you got that, you've got the indictment, and then you've got Trump going after Ron DeSantis in ways that, here's what's going to happen. Say Trump does get this nomination. And I'm just going to tell you up front here, right now, as of July 27th, because I do not fear the election anymore. I just don't. My vote is not going to matter. So I am going to make a statement one way or another, and I'm leaning, believe it or not, toward the unity ticket. I've talked about this a couple of times. Those people seem like they want to get stuff done for the country. I may not agree with all of it, but one of the issues that they have raised is the deficit. They've talked about the border. They've talked about all of the problems we have, but they've tried to kind of go down the middle and come to really good compromises where, say, for instance, on the border, we let some people in. We don't let criminals in. We don't let cartels in. We don't let any of that stuff in. But people who are truly seeking asylum, who are poor, and who are not going to do us any physical harm, those people, I think, are candidates for, at some point, a path toward citizenship. That's the kind of negotiating. It's not all or nothing. And right now we are in nothingville. We've got no border. And the unity people understand that. So I'm just saying, as of today, that's where my brain is. If it's Trump against Biden, this is just really bad for the country. Never mind the age of either one of these guys. There's a good chance next year that neither of these guys will be on the scene. There is a good chance that Trump's indictments and problems, and the fact that you never know, DeSantis might beat him in the primary. Now, it's not looking good for DeSantis. It just isn't. Not looking good at all. So, and I say that, look, I voted for Donald Trump twice. But right now, I'm about as anti-Trump as the Lincoln Project. I am at this stage, because I see him as you see him now as a charlatan. How come you didn't see it before? I didn't see him as a good guy. I didn't see him as a rational actor before, but I saw him as someone who maybe could get things done for the country, and he did briefly. But in 2020, that all changed because of the way he handled the pandemic, COVID, and the lockdowns, and his buddy being Dr. Fauci at that point gives Fauci a commendation on his way out the door. Like Fauci needed recognition from Donald Trump. I mean, what the heck, people? It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So, yeah, I'm not, believe me, the Lincoln Project is just another neocon think tank. It seems to me like a Democrat-run operation. So I'm not pro Lincoln Project, but what I'm saying is I believe in some kind of other way to at least cast my vote and keep my conscience clean. And it's not all that important because at the end of it all, people either want a celebrity president or they want somebody who's going to just do the bidding of these globalist types that are all over the world that are essentially just carving up the world for their own purposes. That's the way I look at it. I would like someone to look out for the American people. That's what I would like. And I would like the divisiveness to go away. And I'd like a spirit of let's get something done, like lowering taxes, but yet taking care of infrastructure. Maybe we look at some other ways to raise revenue that don't hurt the middle class and the lower class people of the country. I mean, there are all kinds of things that we can look at. That's where I'm at right now. Doesn't mean I'll be this way in 5 months or 3 months even, but the longer this goes on, and if DeSantis can pull this out, then, I will throw in with Ron DeSantis. I will definitely do that. Because he's somebody I think who can fix stuff and get stuff done. So if you're a Trump fan, though, you've got to admit this Giuliani thing is kind of a bombshell. It just is. I mean, the indictments you would think would slow Trump down. But this whole narrative that I need to get back in there to do retribution for those people, he should be setting up all kinds of charitable funding for those people who went there on J6 and who are in jail, whose lives have been ruined because of what happened to them, over 2 years ago now? Just crazy. And some of it just continues. And where's Trump? He's nowhere to be found. So that's all I can say about this for now. And I think things are just going to get worse for Donald Trump and for the Republican Party. And this is why, you do a poll, Biden versus Trump, Biden +7 on Donald Trump. I mean, this guy should be beaten like a rented mule. I'm talking about Joe Biden. And all you need is somebody who is competent, who's going to outline their vision for the country, and who's not going to dwell on the past and who did what to them, but just focus on the task at hand. And that would be Ron DeSantis. And if it's not going to be DeSantis, then I'm thinking we need another way. We definitely need a unity ticket that wants to get things done for the country. So that's my video. I never thought I'd be talking about a unity ticket. I don't think the Libertarian Party can appeal to a wide swath of voters. It's an interesting party, and I've dabbled in it, but it becomes cult-like, much like the MAGA crew. You can't talk to them without them accusing you of, not being part of their purity test. Did you pass our purity test? No, I didn't. I believe that the borders need to be sealed up, and we need to get that under control. Just opening everything up because you think these people are going to contribute something to the country, that's fine, but we need a system. We need something where the nefarious characters can be at least weeded out. So anyway, I could go on, and people obviously know where I stand on that. So again, thanks for watching, and God bless, and we'll see you soon.